Hi ladies, this is Miss Laila. As you all know, we are on the facial treatment chapter and I wanted to give you guys a demonstration how to do a basic facial. This is my client here, my mannequin. I have already set the treatment table, which has a bed sheet underneath, a blanket, another bed sheet underneath, and then there is a towel. There's a towel underneath the mannequin's head. I have a plastic cap on her head, and I have a headband over to protect my client's hair. I also have a towel in my lap right here so I can wipe my hands when I use the products. So we are going to get started. I'm going to just show you first how I basically cleanse the client. I have already talked to her. I have looked at her intake form. I have a very good idea what my client needs, and so we'll get started. So she's right here and I see she just came from work, so she has her full makeup on, and the first step for me is to go ahead and remove her eye makeup. So this is my eye makeup remover. As you can see, my cart is all ready. I have my remover, I have my cleanser, my toner, another pre-cleanse, my favorite Mycoderm in a jar. I have two kind of mask. I have a massage cream. I have water. I have a another water, and a mask brush. So I have all my things right here in the cart, and let's get started. I'm going to show you the best way that I find how to go ahead and remove her makeup. So just always go from the corner to the center and remove also on the top, because let's assume that she has a lot of makeup on. And once you start removing her makeup, guess what happens? There's also makeup that goes down. There could be mascara, so you also want to make sure that you remove that too. Once I have done that one time, I also like to go again just in case there is some makeup there, because if I don't remove her makeup properly from the eyes, it's going to affect everything I do, because it's going to be on my sponges, it's going to be on my cotton. So it's always a good idea to take your time and remove the client's makeup nicely and gently. And that also gives you some time to talk to your client, ask her how the pressure is, how she's doing, how was her day, make her feel comfortable so she can totally relax when you start giving her a facial. Now that we have removed her eye makeup, now we have to go ahead and remove her complete makeup from the face. So I'm going to use the pre-cleanse first. And when I use the pre-cleanse, I'm not going to rub too much, because I don't want the skin to get too warm and the makeup starts penetrating. So I'm just going to apply enough and remove the makeup. Also, at the same time I removed her eye makeup, I should have also removed her lipstick. Now I'm going to do her second cleansing. And the second cleansing, I can spend a little bit more time, because I've already cleansed her skin one time. Ask her again, how's the pressure? Is she comfortable? As you can see, the towel comes very handy, because you don't want to keep putting the products back in the water. You can also use the other side of the sponge. Once I'm done with the cleansing, I always like to go back and double check to make sure there's no cleanser left behind. According to the book, you always have to use a toner right after the cleanser because you want the pH balance to be back to normal. In some cases, I don't use a toner right away because it also depends on the product I'm going to be using for exfoliation. If the exfoliation product has a lot of alpha hydroxy or glycolic acid, or it's a stronger peel, then I will not use any toner before. I'll just wait till later. But in this case, because I'm doing a demonstration for you all to see, so I want to show you the way that the book tells you to do things. Again, you want to make sure you go back and check how the skin feels. Normally, when I cleanse, I am at that point ready to examine the client's face. So let's do that before we move further down. Let me analyze her skin. And also, when you use the lamp, always make sure, because it's always in different angles, that it doesn't come and hit the client. So just if you have to get up and do some skin analysis, do that. Now I have a very good idea of how my client's skin is because she has no makeup. I can feel her texture. I can see in which areas she needs more help. If she has any blackheads or whiteheads, or if her skin feels dehydrated or oily in certain areas. So based on that, we will use the right products for her. So I assume that she looks more like a combination skin to me. So I'm going to be using products that suit her skin type. You can, if the room is dark, you can leave the light on because this way you can have some light to work on. If the room is bright, you can turn it off. So it's really up to you. Some people like to leave the light on because it has some light for you, and this way you can close the overhead light so the client can relax more. So now we are ready to get exfoliated. I'm going to be using a Microderm Always use your spatulas when you use anything from the jar. So since this is the first time I'm doing this client, I would rather just have use a mild product for her since I don't know her skin very well. So as you can see, I'm going to apply this wonderful product on her. And with this product, the best thing is you apply and you can just leave it on and then go back, and when it dries you can peel it off. So it's a wonderful way for the skin to exfoliate before you get any other products that you're going to use on her. So once I'm finished with that and it dries a little, I just go back and I work around, because when I work around and it just comes off very easily. So by the time I'm going to go back and use a sponge on her, half of the product has already come off of her skin. So you'll see all these grains in it. And you can again ask the client how's the pressure, because it does have some grains, and so she might feel a little bit more pressure on her skin than she would otherwise. When you ladies come to school and you try the product, you will realize that if it was on a human's hand, you basically hardly see any product at all. It just comes off right away, and it's really easy to go ahead and remove. And you want to make sure that you wipe it twice, because if you don't, you will have the grains in your hands and in on her face when you start doing the massage. So make sure everything is removed before you start. If this was a real client, I would be wearing my gloves during the whole time, but since this is not, and then again, I always, after I finish something, I always go back and check the client's skin to make sure that she's not irritated, or I don't see anything different on her skin that I missed when I was analyzing her skin. And also by now I have cleansed her skin twice. I have used a toner. I have just used my microderm scrub on her. So by this time I have a very good idea of how the client's skin is reacting to the products that I'm using on her, and this way I don't need to worry too much. If her skin just still looks normal and by now it should have a nice glow to it, that means that she's not sensitive to the products I'm using or all the movement that's going on in her skin. So now after this, we are going to go ahead and get started with our facial, with our massage. I like to warm up the massage cream in my hands a little, and especially if it's winters, I also would use the steamer and warm it up. This way the client can feel the steam. And since we are trying to do this for all the students, I'm going to go ahead and put the steam on once I just spread the massage cream on her so you guys can also see how the steamer works before I massage her. Make sure wherever you're doing a facial, you always have enough space for you to move around, so you're not on top of your client when you're trying to put the steamer on, or you're trying to move around. The client should not really feel you. Moving around. What I want you all to do is, just because you guys are just starting to learn how to do facials right now, every move that I'm going to do, I want you to count it in your head 6 times. This way it gives you a good idea of how to do those movements later on. When you learn a lot of different movements, you can do it 3 times, but just because you are learning, it's like exercise. Repetition is very important, and so just go ahead and count 6 times. So we are going to start in the neck area. 1, 2, 3. Come the chin. We'll go above the lips. Come around the nose, come all the way up to the forehead, go around the eyes, come back down. Go on her chest, come back up. As you can see, the steamer is on. So I just want you to keep practicing the basic moves for now, so we can at least do basic massage, and then later on we'll get into all the different massage movements that the state wants us to do: petrissage, effleurage, deportment, all of that. But just to get started, so at least you can give somebody a facial and develop this confidence that you can do it. And also go over her shoulders, underneath. And go zigzag on the forehead gently. Be gentle. By this time, normally your client also should be sleeping. And if she's sleeping, that means she's getting relaxed. So try to keep as quiet as you can, and also make sure that the spa is not that noisy. Put some nice music, have some candles burning, let her feel the whole atmosphere. And believe it or not, while you're doing this, you are relaxing also, so you should be enjoying what you are doing. I'm sure by now you can see your client is glowing. There are many different ways of doing massage, but right now, because you're learning, you just want to have a good flow of a basic massage movement, so it's easy for you to work on a client. As you develop the technique on how to give a good massage, you can every facial add another movement, and this way you will have a lot of more steps that you want to take during the massage. I hope you guys are enjoying this as much as I am, because I'm relaxing as much as she is. Work on the chin. And by the time I'm ready and it's all the massage is done, I like to come all the way down to the ears and kind of massage the loops a little bit, because what I like to do is gently, quietly, without letting the client realize that I'm going to be leaving her face, I'm going to stop the massage so she doesn't get a shock, because by that time she's really enjoying the whole experience. And then slowly, slowly, slowly leave her. I'm going to turn the steamer off because we are recording this, and ask her if she's comfortable, because if it's winters she could be cold, if it's summers it's the AC, so you always want to make sure that she's nice and comfortable. I'm going to go back again. Now I'm going to remove all the massage cream that I have used everywhere. Wipe your hands again, and by this time You can also always check your client's head drape. You might need to fix it a little bit. Wipe your hands, check and see, make sure all the product is off. And now the fun part is the mask. So we are going to go ahead and apply the mask on her. You can use a fan brush or you can use a regular massage brush. It all depends what you like. So we are going to try the fan brush on her. And I'm using this clay mask so you can see how I apply, always going in the upward motions. It's a nice clearing mask, avoiding the eye area. You want to make sure that the mask is applied evenly everywhere, because that's how you want the mask to dry. You don't want in some places it's not hardly showing that the mask is there, and then in some places there's a lot of mask, because then what will happen is when the client is left to dry, some places will get really tight and other places will not be ready to be removed. So as you can see, I'm going to go back and just make sure that we haven't forgotten any area. And ladies, believe me, the mannequin is the hardest person to do a facial on, because you don't know how she feels. But it's important that you can do a good facial on a mannequin, because when you go to state board, you are going to be using this mannequin head that you are going to get from the school, and you're going to be showing how to do a good facial on the mannequin. So as you see, we are all done with the mask. So I'm going to go ahead and put some eye pads on her. And if this was a real person, I would come out and start giving her a good hand treatment and let her relax, or if because while the mask is drying. But if I have other things to do, and I can always come back 10 minutes, 5 minutes before the mask dries, and then I can do her hands. So it's really up to you, depending what you want to do. You can either leave her now and go, and then come back and then do her hand treatment. And then once you finish the hand treatment, the mask should be ready for you to remove. So I'm going to just make sure she's nice and comfortable. I'll turn the lights off and let her relax, and then I'll be back in 10-15 minutes and remove the mask. Okay, so let's assume it's been already 10 minutes. So I'm going to come and I'm going to start taking one hand out and start doing a hand treatment. Work one hand at a time, and you cannot just go over like that. Once you finish this hand, make sure you cover it back again inside the blanket, and then you go on the other side and remove the other hand and give her a good hand massage. When you're finished with that, now we are going to come back and go ahead and remove the mask. And when you are at state board, they are watching you do all of this. So as you can see, this mask is a little bit messy. So we'll need to make sure that we clean it up really good. At this point, you can take the iPads and put them down because you might need it later. And that's why I have two bowls here with water. One has clean water and now the other one is all dirty. Make sure clean up the corners of her mouth, her nose. Later on, when I show you how to use a steam towel, you will see masks like that are very easy to remove when you have a towel. But as you can see, we have done a fairly good job. I'm going to go back to my clean water. And you can see I'm making sure that nothing is left, because you don't want any of the product to be sitting on her face. You want to make sure that it's nice and clean. And normally by this time your client kind of opens her eyes also and starts talking, trying to tell you how much she enjoyed her facial, and then you can start talking to her about how her skin is and what you recommend. This way you both have some time before she gets up to change, and you can at that point ask her how her skin feels. Did she like the products? Is there anything she would like to take home with her? And you'll have to again fix her headdress. If you feel things are falling apart, just go back, do that, then again come back, feel her skin, give her a gentle massage again. Depending how her skin looks at that time, if I feel like her skin feels dry, I would use a serum first. But since I have already figured out that the client is more combination, I don't want to really add more oil to her. So at this point, I'll just use a nice moisturizer. And then again warm it up. Always warm up the products before you put it on the client's skin, because otherwise you kind of shock her. You go over, it's already warm. Press it down because you want to make sure everything penetrates. So ladies, this is your basic facial. It's not like your job is done now, because now you're basically telling the client we are all done, and you would want to come all the way in the front. You're going to take all the stuff off from the hair. You'll want to make sure that you put the client up straight, have her sit down. When she sits down, ask her, would you like a glass of water? Get her a glass of water, and then leave her and go out and write down on her record card or the intake form, whatever your spa has, exactly what you did and what products you did use on her, because guess what, you're not going to remember later on in the day. So while she's changing, make sure you leave her alone, have her dress up nicely, whatever the clothes are, and then she will leave. And when she comes out, you ask her, is there anything she would like to purchase? Is there anything she wants to get? And if she does, then you take her to the receptionist and have the receptionist basically pull out the products, and your job is done. And you say, nice meeting you, I hope to see you in another 4 to 6 weeks. You come back to your room and start taking everything off from your treatment bed, change all the bed sheets, take all the towels, and then again get some clean ones and set it up for the next client. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and see you soon. Bye.